Hello?
Hello, is that Nico?
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, it's John. I think I've called you on my personal number and not the number I gave you for the flipping radio station, mate. Have I? If I called you from a different number I told you?
I don't even know. It's a scam likely.
Oh, nice. I'm a scam likely. I love that. Perfect.
Oh, good. Where are you at right now?
I'm in Victoria on Vancouver Island, Canada.
Oh, cool. Never been that way, but I met a girl in Vegas that I liked very much, and she lived there. Well, she lived there.
Yeah.
And I always promised her I would visit, and I never did.
Well, hopefully one day you'll get that chance because it really is a very beautiful part of the world.
Yeah, I for other reasons, when I was a kid, I can't actually go to Canada just yet until I don't know. I guess I write somebody a letter or something asking if I can be reinstated into up there. Yeah, so you listen to the new EP album, whatever it is.
Well, and that's because, to be honest with you, and like I said when I first messaged you on Instagram, you are a very new artist to me, and I stumbled across the wonderful Dystopian Supply Chain and Big Money on some streaming platforms, and then that led me down the rabbit hole of the Demolicious and previous singles and just the change and development of you as an artist across the last 4 years. So you are very, very fresh, and that's why I'm not trying to hide anything. That's why I'm just excited to get to know someone new. And this EP, I just adore it. I've listened to Where Art Thou, Bromeo so many flipping times the last week since it's 2 weeks since it's been out, really.
Thanks, man.
Do you remember your earliest musical memory? There's so many bios that take so long to say something simple, and yours is, quote, sound scientist with a disgusting urge to create, which I think is brilliant. So where did that urge to create come from?
Well, music started for me. I think the love of music started for me when I don't know how old I was. I think maybe I was around 7, and my mom, she was really into Kenny G at the time. And so she took me to a Kenny G concert. And I thought it was a little silly because you're familiar with Kenny G, right? I think we're all familiar with Kenny G. And all I remember from that concert was him playing. He does that circular breathing, right? So it just flows in and out. So you can hold a note for indefinitely. I think he has the Guinness Book for holding the longest note on a saxophone. And so he does the circular breathing. That's all I really remembered. I thought it was a little cheesy, but after the show, my mom and I are leaving, and we find this little back entrance to leave, and it's like a little mini elevator. It's like a really small whatever. And so we go into this thing, and all the crowd goes the other way. It turns out that's like the artist elevator. So Kenny G, on the next floor that we go to, Kenny G gets into the elevator, and they're all kind of surprised, and he's like, "Oh shit!" And then my mom's like, "He's your biggest fan," blah blah blah. And then he shakes my hand, and he's like, "Here you go, son. Don't ever wash that hand." And that was my earliest memory, being sort of I look back now and it was cheesy, but I thought it was the greatest thing ever. And then, he sent me a signed picture of him, of course, in black and white, sitting backwards on a chair or something. But that, from it, I don't know. That's my earliest, musicians. Fuck yeah. Yeah, I don't know. And then from there, I guess my aunt and uncle played in a band. His band is called Teabag. It's pretty hilarious. And at 13, they bought me my first guitar, which was a Dan Electro. It's like a speckled guitar. A little flamboyant, but it was cool. I loved it. And I just learned on that. And I don't know. I just kind of would play in my room and kind of, fuck around and not skip class. But, I didn't pay much attention in school as much as I probably should have. And I don't know. I would just listen to different songs, and my way of learning was listening to different songs that I like from different genres, and then trying to make I like to try to combine a thing to try to figure out how I could make a folk. I would listen to some country shit, and then I would listen to some of my heavy whatever electronic thing was out at the time. It was probably Owl City or something silly like that. And I would just try and combine them and figure out how the sounds could work together. So I think that's why I like a lot of different sounds, or, just different styles. I think of most, and I know that most artists are really diverse artists. I just don't think they take the time to tap into those other ideas that they have. They stick on a certain path because it makes the most sense. Business-wise, it makes the most sense that you have a consistent sound so your audience can follow that sound, and then you slowly transform or progress through a thing so that some of the fans can stay, and then, some of the fans can hate your new sound, but slowly transition. But I don't know. I get too ADD with it. I just really like to kind of try different things. Yeah, I don't know.
You do know that's fantastic context. I love flipping details so much, and I really appreciate you sharing that. The Kenny G thing is almost too good to be true and legendary, and I completely click into the kids feeling. I remember when I met like a famous soccer player when I was 8 years old, and he gave me like a high five and signed my autograph book and was like, "You'll be a pro one day," and you believe. With the Kenny G thing, so you didn't gravitate to a saxophone first. Then there was that 4 or 5 year gap before you were bought a first instrument, which was the speckled guitar.
Oh shit! I did skip a part that I wasn't thinking about. I did play saxophone. I played saxophone in middle school until high school. Yeah, I didn't even think about, but that wasn't a period of time where I was really creating a lot of, like creating my own music. That was just kind of playing in school band.
Yeah.
The guitar for me was the real first, like, starting to create my own thing. But yeah, wow. I actually haven't thought about that in forever. I did. I played saxophone from 6th grade to 9th grade. And then they wanted you to join a marching band. And I was like, fuck no, I'm not going to traipse around with this thing.
Exactly, yeah.
And, so then I quit. But do love the saxophone. Saxophone's great.
Yeah, Kenny wasn't so big in our house. It was more acapella. I think my parents were convinced that one of the 3 kids would play clarinet, and that fell on the younger brother's shoulders in the end. But I remember when I went to school, and I think I was around 10, when you first sort of start senior school, whatever that is, 10 or 11, and there was like a musician fair, and they basically get all the kids to walk through a hall or like the gym with all the instruments in it, picked up a recorder and went, yeah, okay. Picked up a trombone and eventually got to trumpet and blew what someone said was a perfect C, and they were like, oh my gosh, he must play trumpet, he's a natural, look at those lungs. And so it wasn't a similar thing. Your saxophone, you're telling me, was purely Kenny G, don't wash that hand energy. That wasn't like a school fair, and you were like, all right, it's the one that kind of works for now.
Yeah, it's weird. I haven't really thought about that, but now that we're talking about it, I guess that is why I played saxophone. I never thought that. I've never. The interesting thing about all the other instruments is they do. There are some really prolific players for all of those instruments, but there's something about the saxophone. I don't know maybe it's just in my mind, but I feel like saxophone gets like that, like sexy sax rap, like if you're playing the clarinet, you have less of a chance, and it's unfortunate because the clarinet's awesome. If you get somebody who can rip that thing, it sounds beautiful. But it's like, if you rip that or you rip a saxophone, people are going to pay attention to the saxophone player. I don't know why that is.
Damn you, George
Silly.
Michael. Right. Just these legendary figures come along every 20 years just to make sure that the sax will never die. Anyway.
The sax or the cross earring that you see here in Silver Lake now.
So, Wherefore Art Thou Bromeo is a brilliant title. And as I said at the start of this conversation, stumbled across the song that really is the one that stands out as being the most hello of all of them, Dystopian Supply Chain and Big Money. And much like alluding to your answering and sort of talking about artists that maybe want to just be a bit more safeguarded of how they go about a product and a record that is more streamlined and more in a certain pattern that's easier to be accessible for listeners. With Wherefore Art Thou Bromeo, what I love about music and why I and I don't say love just to throw it around. I know you're down in LA. So when I say I love this record, I love it. And I love it because it is that diverse and it does take you on a journey and it does force you to think.
It sort of represents a period of time in my life. And this specific EP or whatever. This is from, not currently, but this is, about a year ago. And this is different parts of my life and how I was able to kind of handle them. Like part of it's about my work life. The other part of it's about love life. I mean, Bromeo, because Romeo was, for as much as he gave and at the end, like, gave it all, he was also, I have a feeling if we backtrack throughout his whole life, was probably a somewhat maybe fickle's the wrong word, but he would, because like at the beginning he loves Roseline, right? And then all of a sudden he loves Juliet. So how many of those things maybe happened throughout his life where he got really enraptured in something? It was the biggest thing ever, and then switched down to something else. And the different songs in here, the different love songs, are actually, each one is inspired by a different person. And at the time, it to me was the biggest thing ever. And it was, oh man, this person's the greatest person ever. How am I ever going to be without this person? And because I had the tendency of getting wrapped up like that. And so this is kind of a trip through some of those different loves and how they turned out or how they didn't. And Dystopian is, I can't go into details about that one because I don't want to get anybody in trouble, but Dystopian is me angered in my own work life by a lot of corporate evil shit that I saw happening, and the head of a company who I thought was a horrible man. So that one's a little journey off of that. And yeah, it's just a time period. It's a period of my life, and just the love that I have. Eternity is, I had a scare for a bit, and I was contemplating death a lot, and so that kind of came out of that. Yeah, that's a little context for you.
No, I appreciate that. I can certainly relate to the overlord situation. I mean, I'm not going to go into it either, but that's why I chose to leave a corporation that I had really liked working for 10 years. It gave me a real chance to grow and do what I'd always been chasing since I was a little kid, which was trying to do whatever this radio thing is. And I also relate big time to, that's what really speaks to me is, because my cat is, because now I work at home, my cats get so impatient. I'm on the phone with Nico right now. Okay? Chill out. That speaks to me tenfold, because I'm bipolar, and I've had instances many years ago, and I'm in the happiest spot I've been in my life now at 33 years old, but there was a period of 10, 15 years that were not particularly very happy and not particularly trying to enjoy life as much as I probably could have or wanted to. But that's what really speaks to me, is that undertone in that openness of the lyrical content. And is it just you that did this all? Do you have a team around you? Did you do it in your apartment? How did you make the album?
Let's see. Yeah, recording and the performances, that's all me for this one. I'm trying to think. Dystopian Supply Chain was one that, actually, Dystopian Supply Chain first half I wrote and recorded, and then I couldn't figure out, I was like, maybe that's it. Maybe that's the end of the song. And my band and I were playing right before a show. We were just running through some things like a couple hours before a show at my place and like drinking a beer or whatever. And we're just kind of fucking around. And we played Dystopian. I was like, man, we got to play Dystopian Supply Chain, which was a new one for us. So we were kind of like running through it. And then I don't remember if it was Steve or Jake, but one of them started kind of like singing a slow, like, na, 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 na. And I was like, oh shit, wait, that's good. What is that? And so then we just built on that and made this whole second cathartic portion of Supply Chain where it just slows down, builds up, and gets really fierce in halftime, which is awesome. So that's the one. That's the only collaboration on this thing. But yeah, that part. I'm so glad we got that part. Cowboy Candy. Cowboy Candy is about that feeling you get when you break up with somebody or you leave somebody who you really care about. You know, you get that love stick, and you just need it. It's like candy, right? It's like you can eat some sugary ass candy, you get too much, you get sick, but then you still, like, if you're like me and you got a sweet tooth, you want more of that candy. You'll go back to it and you'll let yourself get sick again because you'll let it fuck you up because it tastes so good. And this is sort of about getting roped back in to a love that you don't want, but then you go, maybe just one more time, and then shit, you're right back where you started. Now you fucking are all hooked again, and now it's like, how do I get out of this thing? I promised myself I wouldn't go back, and now I'm here, and I'm waking up next to her, and what the fuck am I doing? What is your favorite candy? I'm a sucker for M&M's. Plain Choco standard, not flipping peanut. Oh, peanut's the best. I'll yeah. Sorry about that. I'll never eat it. Oh.
All right, yin yang, perfect.
I mean, yeah, I'll just go with peanut M&Ms, just so we can piss each other off a little bit, because peanut M&Ms is probably almost my favorite.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Sorry, back to you. Continue.
Oh, something I could say about cowboy candy, which is kind of, I mean, I don't know, it's a little fucked up, but this song is the reason why I'm now living in Highland Park and why I'm not living over by Melrose anymore. I got into a fight with my roommate, really awesome guy, who is he's a music manager, and he's pretty prolific. Like, back in the day, he managed like some of the biggest artists fucking ever. And I don't want to be specific, because I don't,
Yeah.
But he was a really great guy, and we ended up getting into a fight one day because I came up. The song was originally going to be called Rodeo, and he had an artist who he showed me her music video a while back from when I had brought this up, and her song was also called Rodeo. So we got into a huge fight where he said that I was stealing his artist's ideas, and it got really messy. And I don't know if I took that name or not. Maybe I did take the name Rodeo, but I didn't consciously do that. And so I don't know. We got into a huge thing, and then I thought, all right, well, fuck it, I'm moving out. And I ended up moving out that next day. It was a whole thing. And then I changed the name to Cowboy Candy because it made more sense anyway. But if you listen at the end of the song, you can hear the background vocals singing Rodeo at the outro.
Oh, I like that detail.
Yeah, but that's. But I figured it made sense anyways, because the cowboy, she's roping you back in, and so it's like a rodeo. So it goes with the song anyways.
Awesome. And then if there's anything on the road home, it's a short one. It's a beautiful one.
Yeah, I think everybody's looking for their place in the world, and some people are like a Rolling Stone and just restless folk. And this is just about having conversations with my mom, and her telling me, when are you going to settle down? Like, what are you really looking for? And so this is kind of just about that, the feeling of being restless, and where is home, and when are you going to find that thing that you're looking for? And maybe the thing you're looking for isn't anywhere, but it's a state of mind. So, what is that thing?
What would you like to close up with? What would you like your last statement to be?
Stay weird. Stay experimenting. No matter what it is that you're doing, keep doing new shit. Never get comfortable. Just with anything in life. I think the best parts of life come when we, fuck around a little bit and get into a little trouble or switch things up. And all I'm saying is, the same thing everybody says. It's like life begins at the end of your comfort zone, but just fucking switch it up, man. That's what I would say.
Very, very thankful, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for the call. I've had a couple people ask me for these before, and I don't know. I sometimes get weird about talking about all this stuff. I just, which is silly because I'm an artist and that's sort of the job. But yeah, I enjoyed this. So thank you.
You don't have to say diddly squat. That's the wonderful thing about art, is you as the individual get to choose how you wish your art to be obtained and represented. I really appreciate that you gave this a go.
Yeah, you're good at what you do. Yeah. So
thanks, Nico. We'll have a wonderful rest of your day down there, and I will send you that email address shortly.
Thank you.
Bye for now.
You too, man. Be safe.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. What a dude.